Scaling a pressure washing company, on the other hand, is extremely difficult. And there are so many reasons for that. Number one, the barrier to entry people, the low barrier to entry, they're charging a third, right?
Yep.
And most of them have no idea what they're doing. Most of them, we use the word hacks. That's a fact. They destroy property. They don't have insurance. They just don't know what they're doing. Yeah, chucking a truck. And so that's also part of the problem. Is why I say you need to focus on your brand, right? Because part of the problem is when you tell somebody that you own a pressure washing company, there's a stigma, right? I know you felt that before.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, oh, okay, you're a pressure washer. Are you still
like, look at me sideways like, how is that a business?
Yeah. Or they'll say, hey, are you still doing that little pressure washing thing?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that little scaled pressure washing thing that's going to make me a millionaire. Yeah, I'm still doing it. But we get those calls. We get those calls at least 2 or 3 times a week, or a text or a message on Facebook that says, hey, are you still doing that? Like,
yeah.
You couldn't look it up before texting me that, you arrogant little.
Yeah. And like you're saying, like it's easy to get into. It's easy to, you can do, like we did half of last year's revenue in April and May this year. Like we rocked and rolled. We had both trucks running every day, and not even every day. Like the amount of money that we generated in 2 months with weekdays that my truck sat in my driveway, because we're all firemen and they all work in the same shift as me. So all my employees, if I'm at the firehouse, the business isn't making money because they are too. Which I'm trying to change that. I'm actually switching shifts right now to do a guy a favor. So that's going to make that a little bit better. Just the fact that we were able to generate that amount of money in that amount of time with days that were literally not making money during the week, it would blow your mind if you looked at the numbers. And then, like you said, you can do that, but scaling it, and that didn't come with like no work like that. I grind, like I start making phone calls in February, getting people on the schedule. I call every single person in my phone list every spring, talk to them about getting back on the schedule for this year. And, door knocking, walking around, passing out flyers, hanging up signs on street corners, money that goes into the ads, all that. When you want to start scaling it, it becomes a big deal. And that's why I kind of like urge the guys that are just trying to get into it to make like a little bit of money. I'm like, still, even if you're because I always get that. Well, my goal isn't to have employees and trucks. I just want to do it by myself. That's fine. I'm not telling you that that's not okay. But what I'm telling you is that you can still charge the same price that I'm charging and make more money for yourself. You'll probably make more money than I am because you're not spending it on payroll or taxes.
This is what you need to tell them. You say, well, wouldn't you like the option?
Yeah.
They say, I don't want to scale. Okay, well, wouldn't you at least like to have the option? So maybe you should start with a professional brand and a professional pricing. Because I can tell you this, I've heard it 1,000 times. If you go back to that same client the next year and you have a $60,000 setup with a wrapped vehicle, and all of a sudden your prices go up 60%, they're not accepting that.
Chances are they're not. I had a customer last year. She called me up. She's like, hey, you did our house in 2020. We'd like to have you come out again. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, all right, listen.
Yeah.
I said right off the bat, I'm like, I'll give you a quote. I promise you that it's not going to be the same as it was when I did it in 2020. I said, I don't know what it was because I didn't have anything to keep track of it except for a notepad back then. I'm like, I'm positive it's going to be a lot more. I sent her my quote. It was for like $480. She responded with my original emailed quote from back then. Dude, I did her house and windows and garage for $150. And I was like, no way, dude. And she goes, this was what you charged us 4 years ago. She goes, I'm glad to see that you're still in business. When can I get this next meeting scheduled? And I was like, all right, cool. Most people aren't going to do that though. Most people are probably gonna be like, I'm gonna call the next guy.
Well, it's a hard conversation you don't want to have. It's just not worth it. And your time is more valuable